Florida isn't just beaches and condos. While most people picture Miami high-rises, Tampa suburbs, or Orlando master-planned communities, there's another side of Florida that rarely makes the headlines. Wide open land, old farmhouses, quiet country roads, and properties where you actually own space. And in 2026, as housing prices remain high in major metros, more buyers are quietly shifting their focus to rural Florida towns where land is still affordable, and sometimes shockingly cheap compared to the rest of the state. We're talking acreage. We're talking barns. We're talking farmhouse properties with room to breathe. And in some cases, prices that are lower than small suburban homes near the coast. But here's the catch. Not all cheap towns are equal. Some offer real long-term value. Land, infrastructure access, improving local economies. Others are cheap for a reason. Limited job markets, insurance challenges, or stagnant growth. Today, we're breaking down 10 of the cheapest Florida towns where you can still find farmhouses and serious land, and what you need to know before buying. Because land in Florida isn't disappearing, but affordable land is. As population growth continues across the state, investors and families are looking inland. They're looking north. They're looking beyond the tourist corridors. And once demand catches up, prices rarely go back down. If you've ever thought about owning land in Florida, whether for farming, homesteading, retirement, investment, or just privacy, this list matters. Before we dive in, hit the like button so more people discover the affordable side of Florida that doesn't show up in flashy real estate ads. Subscribe and turn on notifications for weekly breakdowns of hidden markets, cheap towns, land opportunities, and where smart buyers are quietly moving. And drop a comment right now. How much land would you want if you could buy anywhere in Florida? Let's get into the 10 cheapest Florida towns where farmhouses and acreage are still within reach, but maybe not for long. Towns number 1, Live Oak. Live Oak continues to rank as one of the most affordable towns in Florida for buyers looking for farmhouses and acreage in 2026. Located in Suwannee County along the I-10 corridor, Live Oak sits in the heart of North Florida's agricultural belt. While it doesn't attract the migration headlines of Tampa or Orlando, that lack of hype is exactly why land prices remain within reach. The surrounding countryside is dominated by farmland, timber tracts, and open pasture. Properties with multiple acres are common, and unlike many parts of Florida where subdivision development has consumed available land, Suwannee County still has wide stretches of rural property. Buyers can find older farmhouses on several acres at prices often lower than suburban homes near the coast. Agriculture remains central to the local economy. Peanut farms, hay production, livestock operations, and small family farms shape the landscape. That agricultural base keeps zoning relatively flexible in rural areas, allowing for barns, animals, and outbuildings without the heavy restrictions found in urban counties. For buyers seeking homesteading potential or hobby farming, this flexibility is a major advantage. Cost of living remains below the Florida average. Property taxes are lower than in many southern counties, and land values have not yet experienced the aggressive appreciation seen closer to high-growth metro areas. That creates opportunity, but also explains why growth is slower. The trade-off comes down to economic momentum. Live Oak does not have a large corporate employer base. Job opportunities are more limited, often centered around agriculture, healthcare, education, and small local businesses. Buyers who work remotely, are retired, or operate independent businesses tend to benefit most from the affordability. Healthcare access exists locally for basic needs, but more specialized treatment may require travel to Gainesville or Jacksonville. Infrastructure improvements have gradually expanded broadband coverage, making remote work increasingly viable, but service quality can vary depending on the property location. Storm exposure is lower than in coastal Florida, though statewide insurance increases still affect homeowners. Even inland properties have seen rising premiums due to Florida's broader insurance market challenges. Lifestyle is rural and quiet. There are rivers nearby for fishing and boating, and outdoor recreation plays a major role in daily life. However, entertainment, dining, and shopping options are limited compared to larger cities. For buyers prioritizing space over nightlife, affordability over flash, and land ownership over urban amenities, Live Oak remains one of Florida's strongest value markets. It may not appreciate at the speed of coastal metros, but the entry price and acreage availability continue to make it attractive for those seeking long-term land ownership. Towns. Number 2, Arcadia. Arcadia, located in DeSoto County in southwest Florida's interior, offers another compelling option for affordable farmhouses and acreage in 2026. Unlike the high-priced coastal cities nearby, Arcadia sits inland, where land remains substantially cheaper and rural character dominates. Historically rooted in cattle ranching and agriculture, Arcadia is surrounded by expansive pasture land and working farms. Large parcels are common, and it's still possible to find properties with 5, 10, or even 20 acres at prices that would be unthinkable near Florida's major coastal markets. Older farmhouses, fixer-uppers, and modest rural homes often come bundled with usable land. One reason prices remain relatively low is the town's limited economic diversification. Arcadia's economy relies heavily on agriculture, local services, and small-scale commerce. While nearby regions like Sarasota and Fort Myers have boomed, that explosive coastal growth has not fully extended inland. For buyers, this creates a clear opportunity: proximity without premium pricing. Arcadia sits within driving distance of Gulf Coast beaches and growing job centers, but land costs remain far lower. That geographic advantage makes it appealing for those who want space while maintaining access to larger markets. Zoning in rural areas tends to accommodate agricultural use, livestock, and outbuildings. Buyers interested in raising animals or cultivating crops often find fewer restrictions than in suburban developments. This flexibility is one of Arcadia's strongest draws. However, infrastructure and services are more limited than in coastal counties. Healthcare facilities are present, but specialized care may require travel. Retail options are modest, and entertainment choices reflect the town's small size. Insurance costs can be influenced by both inland flooding risk and broader Florida market pressures. While Arcadia is less exposed to direct hurricane storm surge than coastal communities, wind coverage remains a factor. Population growth has been steady but not explosive. That slower pace keeps housing supply relatively balanced and prevents the bidding wars seen elsewhere in the state. Investors looking for rapid short-term appreciation may not see dramatic gains, but long-term land value potential remains. Arcadia's appeal ultimately centers on scale and affordability. Buyers can secure meaningful acreage without coastal price tags. The town offers rural quiet, agricultural heritage, and room to expand, qualities increasingly rare in Florida's rapidly developing regions. Towns number 3, Wauchula. Wauchula, located in Hardee County in central Florida, remains one of the most affordable towns in the state for buyers searching for farmhouses and usable acreage in 2026. Positioned inland between Tampa and Fort Myers, Wauchula benefits from agricultural depth while avoiding the pricing pressure that dominates Florida's coastal corridors. Agriculture is the backbone of the local economy. Citrus groves, cattle ranches, watermelon farms, and row crops define much of the surrounding landscape. Because farming is still active and central to the region, large parcels of land remain available, and zoning regulations tend to accommodate agricultural activity. Buyers can often find properties with barns, fenced pastures, irrigation systems, or older farmhouse structures already in place. One of Wauchula's biggest advantages is pricing. Compared to nearby counties experiencing suburban expansion, Hardee County land values remain significantly lower. It's still possible to purchase several acres for the cost of a small suburban lot in more developed regions. Older farmhouses may require updates, but that also creates entry opportunities for buyers willing to renovate. The slower pace of development has preserved open space. Unlike parts of central Florida, where subdivisions have rapidly replaced farmland, Wauchula maintains a rural character. For buyers seeking privacy, livestock potential, or agricultural use, that stability is appealing. However, affordability reflects economic scale. Wauchula does not have a large corporate presence or diversified employment base. Job opportunities are centered around agriculture, local government, education, and healthcare services. Income levels are lower than Florida's state average, which limits rapid housing appreciation. Infrastructure is basic but functional. Highway access connects the town to larger metro areas, though commutes can be lengthy. Broadband availability has improved, but may vary depending on location. Healthcare facilities cover essential services, but advanced treatment typically requires travel to larger cities. Insurance considerations remain relevant. While inland location reduces storm surge risk, statewide premium increases still impact homeowners. Buyers should factor coverage costs into long-term planning. Lifestyle in Wauchula is quiet and community-oriented. Local events, farming culture, and outdoor recreation define much of daily life. It's not a nightlife destination or tourist hotspot, but that absence of hype keeps land accessible. For buyers who prioritize acreage, flexibility, and agricultural potential over urban amenities, Wauchula continues to offer one of Florida's strongest value propositions. It may not deliver explosive appreciation, but it provides real land ownership opportunities in a state where open space is becoming increasingly rare. Towns number 4. Perry Perry, located in Taylor County in Florida's Big Bend region, stands out as another affordable option for farmhouses and larger tracts of land in 2026. Surrounded by forests, timberland, and rural farmland, Perry offers acreage at prices far below the state median. Timber and forestry have historically shaped the local economy. Large wooded parcels are common, and buyers can often find properties suitable for small-scale farming, livestock, or homesteading. Compared to southern Florida counties, land costs per acre remain substantially lower. One reason for this affordability is geographic isolation. Perry is not located near a major metro area, and economic diversification has been limited. Employment is tied to forestry, healthcare, education, and small businesses. While this limits wage growth, it also prevents rapid land speculation. For buyers seeking privacy, Perry offers extensive undeveloped space. Parcels often include mature trees, open pasture, or mixed-use acreage suitable for multiple purposes. Zoning in rural areas tends to allow agricultural flexibility, making it appealing for buyers who want to build barns, plant crops, or maintain livestock. Storm risk is a factor in the Big Bend region, as recent hurricane seasons have demonstrated. Wind coverage and insurance costs must be evaluated carefully. However, property prices often reflect that risk, keeping entry points lower than in coastal counties. Infrastructure development has progressed slowly, retail options are limited, and healthcare services cover basic needs. Larger medical facilities and shopping centers require travel to bigger cities. Broadband expansion has improved connectivity, but service can vary by property location. Population growth has been modest, which stabilizes demand but limits rapid appreciation. Investors seeking quick gains may not find strong upward pressure here. However, buyers focused on long-term land control rather than short-term speculation may view Perry differently. Lifestyle is rural and centered around outdoor recreation. Proximity to rivers, hunting land, and Gulf fishing areas attracts buyers who value nature and quiet living. In 2026, Perry remains one of the cheapest Florida towns where farmhouses and acreage are still attainable. It offers space, forestry potential, and agricultural flexibility, balanced against slower economic momentum and infrastructure limitations. Towns number 5. Chipley. Chipley, located in Washington County in Florida's Panhandle, remains one of the most affordable small towns in the state for buyers seeking farmhouses and substantial land in 2026. Positioned along Interstate 10, Chipley offers highway access, while maintaining a distinctly rural character that keeps land prices well below Florida's statewide averages. The surrounding region is dominated by farmland, timber tracts, and open countryside. Large parcels remain common, and compared to southern Florida counties where development has rapidly consumed acreage, Washington County still provides opportunities to purchase multiple acres at relatively low per-acre costs. Buyers frequently find older farmhouses, manufactured homes on land, or fixer-upper rural properties that include barns, sheds, and fencing already in place. Agriculture and forestry shape the local economy. Timber harvesting, small-scale farming, and livestock operations remain active. This agricultural base contributes to zoning flexibility in many rural sections, allowing property owners to keep animals, build outbuildings, or cultivate crops with fewer restrictions than in suburban HOA communities. For buyers interested in homesteading or self-sufficient living, this regulatory flexibility is a major advantage. Affordability is one of Chipley's strongest selling points. Median home values remain far below Florida's coastal markets. Even properties with several acres often cost less than a small suburban lot in high-growth regions like Tampa Bay or South Florida. This pricing gap draws buyers priced out of more developed areas. However, the town's limited economic diversification explains why prices remain low. Job opportunities tend to revolve around agriculture, education, healthcare, and local government. There are few large employers driving high-income job growth. As a result, appreciation has been steady but modest. Healthcare access covers basic needs, but specialized services require travel to larger cities such as Panama City or Tallahassee. Retail and dining options remain limited, reinforcing Chipley's small-town atmosphere. Insurance costs, though generally lower than coastal areas vulnerable to storm surge, are still influenced by Florida's broader property insurance challenges. Buyers must account for wind coverage even in inland panhandle communities. Population growth has been moderate. Chipley is not experiencing a migration surge, which keeps competition lower and inventory more accessible. For investors seeking rapid short-term gains, the pace may feel slow. But for buyers focused on affordable land acquisition and long-term rural stability, Chipley continues to offer value. Lifestyle centers around quiet living, outdoor recreation, and agricultural traditions. It's not a nightlife or entertainment destination. Instead, it appeals to buyers seeking space, privacy, and manageable property costs. In 2026, Chipley stands out as one of Florida's most accessible rural land markets, affordable, flexible, and grounded in agriculture, but without the economic acceleration seen in more urbanized regions. Towns number 6, Crescent City. Crescent City, located in Putnam County between Jacksonville and Orlando, offers another compelling option for buyers searching for cheap Florida land paired with farmhouse potential. Positioned near Crescent Lake and surrounded by agricultural tracts, this small town maintains affordability despite its relative proximity to larger metro areas. The area is known for its historic homes, lakefront properties, and surrounding farmland. Acreage listings are common, particularly in the rural outskirts. Buyers often find older homes on multi-acre parcels at prices significantly below the state median. Many properties include space for gardening, livestock, or small-scale farming. Agriculture remains a component of the local economy, along with small businesses, education, and regional services. While the town benefits from being within driving distance of larger job markets, Crescent City itself does not host major corporate employers. Income levels are modest compared to Florida's fast-growing metropolitan counties. One of Crescent City's advantages is its natural setting. Lake access and surrounding waterways add recreational value, which can support long-term desirability. Unlike deeply inland agricultural towns, Crescent City offers a blend of farmland and waterfront influence. However, infrastructure and services remain limited. Healthcare facilities handle basic needs, but advanced medical care typically requires travel to larger cities. Retail and entertainment options are minimal, contributing to the town's quiet atmosphere. Insurance considerations can vary depending on proximity to water. Lakefront properties may require additional flood insurance coverage, adding to ownership costs. Even inland parcels must account for Florida's statewide premium increases. Population growth has been steady, but not explosive. The town has not experienced the type of rapid development seen in suburban counties closer to Orlando or Jacksonville. That slower pace keeps property values accessible, but limits dramatic appreciation. Zoning in rural sections often allows agricultural use, making Crescent City attractive to buyers who want flexibility without heavy suburban restrictions. Large wooded parcels and pasture land remain available, particularly outside the small downtown core. Lifestyle in Crescent City is relaxed and community-oriented. Fishing, boating, and outdoor activities are common. The town lacks urban energy, but that absence keeps land within financial reach. In 2026, Crescent City remains one of the cheapest Florida towns where buyers can still secure farmhouses and meaningful acreage. Its combination of affordability, rural setting, and relative access to larger cities makes it a balanced option for buyers prioritizing land ownership over metropolitan convenience. Towns number 7, Mayo, located in Lafayette County, is one of the smallest and least expensive towns in Florida where buyers can still find true rural acreage paired with farmhouse properties in 2026. With a population under a few thousand, Mayo represents old Florida, agricultural, quiet, and largely untouched by large-scale suburban development. The surrounding landscape is dominated by timberland, pasture, and small family farms. Parcels ranging from 5 to 20 acres are common, and prices per acre remain among the lowest in the state. Buyers often find older wood-frame farmhouses, modest ranch-style homes, or manufactured homes sitting on significant acreage at prices far below Florida's median home value. Agriculture and forestry form the backbone of the local economy. There are few large employers, and income levels remain modest compared to state averages. That limited economic diversity keeps property prices suppressed, but also reduces rapid appreciation pressure. Zoning in rural Lafayette County tends to be flexible. Livestock, barns, fencing, and agricultural use are common and widely accepted. For buyers interested in homesteading or self-sufficient living, Mayo offers minimal regulatory friction compared to more urbanized counties. Healthcare access is limited locally, with specialized treatment requiring travel to Gainesville or Lake City. Retail options are sparse, reinforcing the town's rural identity. Insurance costs remain influenced by statewide trends, though inland positioning reduces storm surge risk. Mayo's appeal lies in privacy, land control, and extremely low entry prices. It is not a fast growth market, but for buyers seeking space at the lowest possible cost in Florida, it stands out as one of the strongest value plays. Towns number 8, Blountstown. Blountstown, in Calhoun County, sits in the Florida Panhandle and continues to offer affordable farmland and acreage opportunities in 2026. Surrounded by agricultural fields and pine forests, the town provides rural character with relatively low land prices. Large tracts remain accessible, and older farmhouses with several acres frequently enter the market at prices well below those found in coastal counties. Timber production and farming shape the region's economic foundation. Blountstown has faced hurricane impacts in past years, which influences insurance costs and rebuilding considerations. While inland, the Panhandle region still carries wind exposure risk that buyers must evaluate carefully. The local economy centers around agriculture, education, healthcare services, and small businesses. There are limited corporate employers, which keeps wage growth moderate and prevents large-scale housing demand spikes. Infrastructure is basic but functional. Broadband expansion has improved connectivity, but service quality can vary by property location. Retail and healthcare services cover essentials, though larger facilities require travel. Blountstown appeals to buyers prioritizing land ownership and rural independence over urban convenience. Affordability remains its primary strength. Towns number 9, Bronson. Bronson, located in Levy County in north-central Florida, offers one of the more balanced combinations of affordability and geographic positioning. While rural and agricultural in character, Bronson sits within driving distance of Gainesville and the Gulf Coast, creating potential long-term value. Land parcels in Levy County remain reasonably priced compared to Florida's metro areas. Buyers can still find several acres paired with modest homes or fixer-upper farmhouses at attainable price points. The economy is centered around agriculture, small businesses, and regional services. Income levels remain moderate, limiting aggressive housing appreciation. However, proximity to larger cities provides some commuter flexibility. Zoning often allows livestock and agricultural use in rural sections, making Bronson appealing for buyers seeking flexible land use. The county retains a quiet, small-town atmosphere without heavy development pressure. Insurance premiums reflect Florida's broader market challenges, but are generally lower than direct coastal communities. Bronson offers space and affordability with slightly better access to nearby urban services compared to more remote towns. That positioning may provide gradual, steady value retention rather than rapid spikes. Towns number 10. Madison, located east of Tallahassee along I-10, rounds out the list as another affordable North Florida town where farmhouses and acreage remain accessible in 2026. Surrounded by farmland and timber operations, Madison maintains a traditional agricultural identity. Large parcels remain available, and buyers frequently encounter older homes sitting on multiple acres at prices significantly below state medians. Compared to high-growth counties, Madison's land remains undervalued due to limited economic expansion. Employment centers around agriculture, education, healthcare, and local government. There is no major corporate anchor driving rapid income growth. As a result, housing demand remains steady, but not overheated. Proximity to Tallahassee offers some commuter potential while preserving rural affordability. Infrastructure is adequate but limited, with advanced healthcare and larger retail centers located in the capital city. Storm exposure risk exists, but is lower than coastal counties. Insurance costs must still be evaluated carefully given statewide volatility. Madison appeals to buyers seeking affordable acreage with highway access and proximity to a larger metro without paying metro-level prices. And here's the truth most people don't realize about Florida in 2026. Affordable land still exists, but it's not on the coast. It's not in the master-planned suburbs, and it's definitely not in the cities everyone is posting about online. It's in towns like these, places where acreage hasn't been swallowed by developers, where farmhouses still sit on open land, and where you can buy space instead of just square footage. The window is still open, but it's narrowing. As Florida's population keeps growing, pressure doesn't just hit Miami or Tampa. It spreads inland. It moves north. It follows highways. And when it reaches rural markets, prices adjust fast and rarely reverse. The people who win in real estate aren't the ones who buy after the headlines. They're the ones who buy before demand shows up. Now, that doesn't mean every cheap town is a gold mine. Some areas will stay slow. Some will remain purely rural. Some will never explode in value. And that's okay, because not every buyer is chasing appreciation. Some of you want freedom. Some of you want privacy. Some of you want land to grow food, raise animals, build a workshop, or simply breathe without neighbors 5 feet away. And Florida still offers that, if you know where to look. But here's the key. Cheap doesn't mean careless. You have to research zoning. You have to check flood zones. You have to understand insurance costs. You have to evaluate job access and infrastructure. Land is powerful, but only when you buy smart. If this list opened your eyes to the affordable side of Florida that most channels ignore, hit the like button so more people discover these hidden opportunities. Subscribe and turn on notifications, because we break down the markets most investors overlook: the cheap towns, the land plays, the rural shifts, and the places that could quietly become tomorrow's growth stories. Drop a comment below. Which town surprised you the most? And how many acres would you actually want if price wasn't the biggest barrier? And most importantly, share this video with someone who thinks Florida is too expensive, because it depends where you're looking. The land is still there. The prices are still reasonable. For now. The question is, will you move before everyone else does? We'll see you in the next one.